Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Roo Hammer, Season 3, Episode 45. Thank you so much, all you guys, for joining us. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge our wonderful Patreon supporters. Massive shout out to you and all you awesome people that have supported us by purchasing T-shirts from our Redbubble store. It's your generous support that enables us to upgrade our visual presentation through Restreamers, which you're watching us through now, and enables us to bring the content and all the guests that you guys enjoy so much. G'day, mates. Another busy weekend for you, hey?
Was a bit of a busy weekend, mate. Yeah, we had another game for our young New South Wales Māori under-16 girls. They took on Samoa, 16 girls. The Samoan 16 girls probably played a better game than the Samoan men over in the World Cup.
That wouldn't have been hard.
No, it was not the result we wanted. The girls went down 22-12. But yeah, all leading to the tournament next week that's down in Wollongong, the Nines tournament that we're participating in. So yeah, it was a good weekend. Another opportunity for these girls to embrace their culture, represent their culture. And that's not just us. The Cook Islands were there as well, competing as well. So all these island nations that are well represented within the Sydney Sydney area. It's been good. How about you, mate? How's your weekend?
Yeah, pretty quiet, mate. I was on call for work, so tried not to stray too far, but stayed home, tried to keep an eye on the Rugby League World Cup, some of the results, and just chilled out. Bit of ordinary weather up here. I think you've sent some of your ordinary weather up this way, so hasn't been too bad. But yeah, the next few days are supposed to rain. So
it's interesting because we were supposed to have the big wet last week. They said that we were going to have a month's worth of rain in 4 days, and I think I got 5 drops of rain on me all week last week. This week's been a little bit different. We have had rain every day this week, so it's one of those things. I see Ken Wills is in, loving the shirts. Yeah, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Ken.
repping some of our merch today. Malcolm Earnshaw's in. Sonny Kapua. How are you, boys? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to have you boys along. Funny, great segue actually, Ken. You mentioned the shirts because I'm wearing the Ivan Cleary Forever and Always Warrior 73 shirt. Good friend of the show, Ivan.
Yes.
And often referred to as the biggest why did we let him go in Warriors history? And funnily enough, that is the very topic that we are going to be talking about tonight.
Correct.
We're going to have an in-depth discussion on the players and the myth that Warriors players go on to bigger and better things once they do leave the Warriors. It's got to be one of the biggest Warriors myths since, massive forward pack, throws the ball around, that kind of thing. The commentators still say that. I'm like, have you guys watched us in the last 10 years? It's one of Mick Ennis's favourites, Blocker Roach, all these guys, massive forward pack, they play for 60 minutes. Give the ball some airtime. As Sonny's saying, Ivan is the poster boy, though. I mean, and I would agree, probably the biggest loss in club history. But we will get to that.
Yes.
And before we do get into it, just a reminder to everyone, all you guys that tuned in tonight. I know you don't need a reminder, but the reason we do the live show is to get your involvement of all you guys watching. So as we move through the discussion points tonight, join the conversation, leave your comments. And, please, as always, do be aware we do have current and ex-players and their families that do watch the webcast. So, please keep your comments respectful and refrain from, making them personal.
Absolutely.
Before we get on to the hot topic of tonight, we will, as I mentioned before, Rugby League World Cup has kicked off. So why don't we quickly recap some of those results from week 1 off the Cup?
We will, mate. We'll recap all of them, but we'll only probably discuss 4 of the games. The others will kind of just brush through with the scores. World Cup kicked off with the host nation England hosting Samoa. Much anticipated contest. Everyone expecting Samoa to be, one of the big guns of this Rugby League World Cup. England 60. Young 2, Whitehead 2, Wellesby, Watkins, Farnworth, Mackinson, Williams, Burgess tries. Mackinson 10 from 12 goals. Samoa 6. Isaac Pungo a try. Stephen Crichton 1 from 1 goal. mate, huge win from England to open up the World Cup.
Massive.
They dominated every aspect of the game with a 60-40 possession split and an 81% completion rate. Now, I don't think anyone saw this result coming. Maybe people might have predicted an England win, but I don't think they would have predicted an England win by 54 points. Samoa, hugely disappointing. Hugely disappointing. Matt Parrish, delusional with his comments after the game, and they did lose 3 players to injury, so that was obviously impacted their bench. But yeah, mate, Samoa now, their game against France will be crucial for them to advance to the quarterfinals now. And if they do advance to the quarters, if things go well in Pool D as to how we expect they will, then it's going to be Samoa Tonga meeting in the quarterfinals in week 1 of the quarters. So yeah.
Hugely detrimental for them to concede such a scoreline in the first round.
Absolutely.
Like for and against is going to be everything, and I mean we'll see how they match up against France. They got as you said, a few injuries. Milford's been suspended.
Yep.
So yeah,
Hamlin Ueli and the Little Hammer have been flown home to Australia. They've got tournament-ending injuries, and there is a report that Matt Parrish will be adding players to his squad.
I'm assuming UK-based players.
You would have to think so, because I don't know of I was trying to think who played in the mid-season test for Samoa that could. I mean, I know Jazz played in that, but he's obviously injured. It's going to be an interesting thing to see what they come up with. Sonny Kapoor's jumping the gun here. Did any Warrior leave to a worse club than us and thrive? We'll get to that, bro.
We'll get to that. Yeah, that's the meat of the discussion tonight. Yeah. But moving on to the second game of the World Cup and the Aussies, the Kangaroos haven't played since 2019, but they blew out the cobwebs. 42-8 win over Fiji. Addo Carr with a double, Nanai, Crichton, Mitchell, Grant, Tedesco tries. Holmes 7 from 7. Fiji, Valame and Tariva tries. Wakeham 0 from 2. Fiji shock early leaders with a 4-0 start.
Yep.
Put a scare into the Kangaroos. Aussies, though, they controlled the ball and the pressure, scored points when they were given the opportunity. Addo Carr, long-range try to get Aussies in front, sizzling. He was, okay, we know he's the fastest man in league, but he was playing, the referee has to be the fastest referee in league. If you saw him...
The referee is the fastest man on the planet.
Fastest man on the planet. That's what I'm trying to say. He's bested. It's like the Lee Odenryan Martin Offia race again, except this man has just smoked the Fox. Great scenes. Fiji, they were more than competitive, as you would have expected. But the Kangaroos' defence rock solid. Fiji's only chance for points was picking up the scraps off kicks. In contrast, Australia were just composed as you would expect, professional, and continued to control the speed and momentum of the game. They built pressure and they got the desired end result. And I think, they're building slowly and nicely.
It was a slow start to the game from the Kangaroos, but they, as you said, they built into the game rather nicely, quite well. Their tries were well-constructed tries, whereas Fiji's tries came from kicks, opportunistic. The thing with these Pacific Island nation teams and the other teams within the World Cup that aren't England, Australia, New Zealand, is their weakness is in their halves.
Very much so.
Like Fiji's got, they've got guys like King Vini Iawa, they've got Tui Kamikamitha, they've got Viliami Kikau. They've got some big boys that play, NRL and are damaging in the NRL, but when they haven't got the halves to put them into gaps or to direct the teams around the park, that's where these teams kind of lack when they come up against the big guns. But I still expect Fiji to be the team that goes through from that pool with Australia.
They probably showed enough. They showed enough. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. They did. And I think from their pool, the other teams, is it Italy and Scotland that are in their pool?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yep.
Italy 28 defeated Scotland 4. That was a bit of a one for the record books. Apparently, everyone was expecting Scotland to win, but Italy came out. Young kid that plays
Falcons.
Queensland Cup.
Sunshine Falcon making his debut for
Yeah.
Italy. Got a hat trick.
Got a
Some good
hat-trick.
tries.
Close
to the length of the field try. He looked good. Might have a few NRL clubs knocking.
There's a couple. Yeah, there was a few things in the media this week about guys, clubs knocking on the door of some of the guys, and I'm thinking, let's put it into perspective.
Yeah.
Let's see how they are at the end of the tournament. Ireland 48 defeated the Jamaican. What do they call them themselves?
Reggae
Warriors 2. As you pointed out in our discussions off air, Ireland missed quite a few kicks at goal, so that could have.
They kept hitting the post. They legit hit the post about 4 times in a row. Yep.
So that could have been closer to 60.
Should have been about 60. Yeah.
So you would think this weekend that the Kiwis would put a bit of a score on the Jamaicans, and if anything less than 80 or 90, I think it'd be a worrying thing for New Zealand.
Absolutely. Based on what I saw, that you guys will be looking at 80, 90, possibly 100.
Yeah, it should rival the Australia-Russia scoreline from...
was that 110 before?
Something like that, yeah. And the guy that scored the try for Russia, didn't he play New South Wales Cup or something here?
Yeah, he played for Western Suburbs. I think his name was Matt Donovan or something.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But, Russian international. Yeah.
The Kiwis, New Zealand Kiwis, 34. Kenny Bromwich, Sofa Solomona, Hiku, Brown, Manu, Rapana tries. Rapana 5 from 6 goals. Defeated Lebanon 12. Mansour and Miski, the identical twins, scored tries.
Separated at birth.
Moses 2 from 2. Much like the Kangaroos, mate, the Kiwis took a little bit of time to warm into this game. Lebanon were competitive and look certain to be the team that qualifies from that for the quarterfinals, along with the Kiwis from Pool C. They actually scored their tries at the start of each of the halves, so they opened the scoring in both halves. Yes. Lebanon. Joey Manu was just at his sublime best. His individual try in that second half was just
freakish.
Very freakish. Chip and Regatha, he steps off 1 foot and he spins out of a tackle. Remarkable. Adam how's it pronounced now? Dewey?
Yeah,
Adam Dawahi. Yeah, Adam Dawahi. He sent off 20 minutes from full time for dissent. At first, Andrew Voss was telling us that Robbie Farah had been sent off. Adam Dawahi, he was sent off. He's going to face a 1-game ban, I believe. Yes. He won't be available next game.
I think so, yep.
But yeah, mate, the Kiwis look to be in control for that game, much like the Kangaroos. Got through that game unscathed, and they'll be better for that run.
Played well within themselves.
Yeah.
Probably left quite a few points out there, but yeah, as you said, better for the run. Lebanon came ready to play. Speaking of other teams having average halves, Lebanon certainly have a strong halves pairing of Duahi, for that game, and Mitchell Moses. So they offered a fair bit in attack. So good first round hit out for the Kiwis.
Yes.
And we move on to France 34 over Greece 12. France always in control this one, although the Greeks scored a sensational try right before full time. It got the crowd going.
How remarkable is that story about Greece, where it was illegal to play rugby league until they actually qualified? They beat Malta, and after they qualified for the World Cup, the laws changed and they were allowed to play. So when they played Malta, they had to
legal.
Yeah, and they had to come up with diversions so that they couldn't get caught playing. They ended up playing the game at midnight. They didn't tell Malta where it was going to be played until half an hour before kickoff. It was just an amazing story. Good luck to the Greeks.
It must bring a tear to Georgie Gaddis's eye. Seeing the Greeks. Yeah,
it does.
Good on them. Yeah. Good on them. It's a good story, and I mean they're probably a little bit out of their depth, but great experience for those guys. They got Lockie Ilias there. He had a pretty good game.
Yeah, Peter Mamazoulis.
Mamazoulis, Billy Magoulias.
Yep.
He had a very good game from a Sharks player. So, but the French, I mean, they had a lot of players that play in the ESL, so you would have expected them to account for them. But yeah, it wasn't a bad watch.
Yeah.
Speaking of good games, close games, Tonga 24 over PNG Kumals 18.
Yep.
Dream start from the Kumals. Their point scoring freak, Reece Martin. Can't he get a try and kick a goal? Got out to a 6-0 lead. Was it 41 consecutive kicks?
41.
From the point scoring machine?
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic effort. Tonga, though, they regained the ascendancy. They got 3 tries, 18-6 halftime lead. And Akula, did you see the try he set up? That was scintillating stuff. His kick return.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Really showed his pace.
Yeah, he's got some toe.
Yeah, exactly. Put Penasini over for a try. PNG, again, in the second half, they came out of the blocks really fast, and they made a game of it, clawing their way back to 18 all. But a freakish kind of try from Tonga that went through, like, basically the whole team, and different sets of hands and kick chase, and Kolamatangi dived on the ball to secure a 24-18 victory for Tonga over a very plucky PNG Kumals.
Yeah. Interesting that they lost Saliva Havili prior to the game. So Kolamatangi was actually playing hooker.
Yeah, I saw that. They're going to persist with it.
Yeah.
Biggest hooker of all time.
Yeah, and they've still got Sonny Luke in that squad too. Yeah, so I'm surprised he's not starting. But yeah, it worked for him.
Yeah, exactly. And the final game so far, the Cook Islands had an 18-12 victory over Wales.
Yep. Yeah, and the Heat won today too, mate.
The Heat?
Yeah. Did you win? The Bulls?
No, we didn't win. We got done 116 to 108. Yeah, gutted.
We got smashed by the Pelicans.
I saw that.
120 to 103 or something.
Ben Simmons' debut was an absolute fizzer. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, I
know. Anyway, enough about this NBA business until our teams start winning.
Yes, mate. Just quickly recapping some predictable results there. Round 2 kicks off this weekend. I think that Samoa are the team under the most pressure of the teams that are expected to feature in the quarterfinals. They need to, pull their finger out and get moving. But yeah, looking forward to another round of games over the weekend. Early starts again for all of us people. I know there's a couple of guys watching now who have been doing live watches. Sam Ravel's watching tonight. He'd be bleary-eyed. He was up crack of dawn this morning doing a live watch for the Cook Islands Wales game.
You guys are machines. I don't know how you do it. Well, you clearly don't have young kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Celtics year. We'll see.
Let's move into the main discussion of the night, and that's and as you said, it's the common held belief that players who leave the Warriors go on to bigger and better things at other clubs, and we've looked into we've got a pretty comprehensive list here of players, and it actually is a bit of a myth. There's probably only one player in recent years that has done it, and it's no surprise. It's Isaiah Papali'i. He is, left the Warriors, and he has gone on to bigger and better things at the Parramatta Eels. And there are a couple of guys, who we will discuss. Guys like Jimmy Maloney, who he was good at the Warriors, and he did continue that form going into other clubs. Did win premierships at stronger clubs after leaving the Warriors.
I guess kind of what we're saying is, we're looking at your Papali'i type example, like a guy like him who didn't get much of an opportunity or had limited opportunities at the back end of his Warriors stint, went to another club on a bargain basement deal and took his game just to a completely different level. Yes. And I think that's what everyone's assumes. You see the comments everywhere. Oh, he's going to go on. He's going to come back to haunt us. Every player that leaves goes on to kill it at another club. So that's what we're here to talk about and to
absolutely
dispel.
One of the biggest myths is that the number of under-20s players that the Warriors have failed to retain who went on to big success at other NRL clubs. So we've gone back, and I've actually gone back through every Warriors squad of under-20s from 2008 until it's the under-20s demise in 2017. And I've just listed the players from each squad that actually went on to play first grade and where they played their first grade at. So we'll start with 2008, the first year of the under-20s. The Warriors finished third in that season and were knocked out in the preliminary final.
Heartbreaker against the Broncos.
That the Broncos?
Yeah, we were leading by 8 with about 5 to go and lost.
Yeah. So from that 2008 20 squad, these are the guys that played 20s that year and ended up going on and playing NRL. So we had Leeson Armal. He played 20s in 2008. He debuted at the Warriors in 2009, only playing 2 games. He did go to the Cowboys and the Dragons, and then he came back to the Warriors. You could argue that he left the Warriors and went on to bigger and better things. 2008 and 2009, Leeson Armal as a front rower was not going to be playing a lot of first grade when we had guys like Russell Packer, Sam Rapira, Steve Price, Ruben Wiki, all front rowers at our club at that time. Ben Madalino. So Armal leaving is not one of those why did we let him go kind of moments, because he was going to be a fringe first grader at best.
Yep.
Went away, plied his trade at 2 other clubs, was very good in his stint at the Dragons, and then, the Warriors.
Particularly the Dragons. Yeah, played very well for them. Won a Player of the Year a couple of times, I think.
Yep. Sonny Fye was another one that played 20s that year. Debuted for the Warriors in the same year, played 15 games, and, we all know what happened to Son. Isaac John, he played 20s in 2008. He made his Warriors debut in 2009, playing 3 games for the Warriors. He played 5 games in 2010 and 1 game in 2011. And then he went to Penrith for 2013 to 2015. He played 16 games in 2013, 3 in 2014, and only 7 in 2015. So you can't say that he went on to bigger and better things when he left the Warriors.
He's actually best remembered for scoring, was it 3 or 4 tries against us that night when Penrith hammered us like 62-6?
Yeah.
And we will put a side note that having a massive game against the Warriors does not count. Okay, anyone can have a field day against the Warriors. So yes. that comes with an asterisk.
Correct. 2008 also saw Sigatonga Licky play the 20s. He played Warriors 20s from 2008 to 2010, so he had 3 seasons in our 20s. He did make his Warriors NRL debut in 2009, just played 1 game, and then he went to the Knights in 2011 and only played 2 games. So, obviously he's not.
He went to the Titans after that and then couldn't crack their team either.
Correct.
Yep.
Kevin Locke played 20s in 2008. He made his Warriors debut in 2009. Warriors 2009 to 2014 played 89 games. Ben Madalino played 20s in 2008. Also debuted for first grade in 2008. Played at the Warriors 2008 to 2017, and we'll talk about him a little bit later in his Tigers stint. Upu Poaching went on to play first grade. He played 2008 under 20s, played 1 game for the Warriors in 2010. And that was it. That's the extent of his first grade career. Yep. Steve Rapira played 20s in 2008, played for the Cowboys in 2009 and 2010, only playing 26 games, and then came back to the Warriors 2011, 2012, 2013, just playing 14 games, so struggled to crack first grade.
Yeah.
Nath Salawini, I think everyone will remember him. He was a live wire little hooker. Everyone thought was going to go on to bigger and better things. He played 3 seasons of 20s at the Warriors. Before leaving, he went to Penrith 2011, had 2 seasons at Penrith, 2 seasons at the Roosters. Really didn't kick on to bigger and better things. Elijah Taylor, he played 3 seasons of 20s, 2008, 2010. Made his Warriors debut in 2011, playing 21 games. He played 67 games for the Warriors from 2011 to 2013. Left and went to the Panthers. Had 3 seasons at the Panthers, but only played 39 games, and then had 4 seasons at the Tigers where he played 80 games. And, you know, I wouldn't say that he went on to bigger and better things once he left the Warriors either. He was
solid. He was a solid player at the Warriors, and he continued to be solid in his stint at the Panthers and the Tigers. Yeah, exactly.
Correct. And then Billy Tupu. He was in our Warriors 2008 under-20 squad. He played 3 seasons, 08 to 2010. Made his debut for the Warriors in 2010, played 12 games that season, 62 games all up for the Warriors before he went to the Raiders in 2013 and only played 14 games. So, yeah. You got the 2009 list in front of you there, mate?
Yeah, that's it. So, Sione Lausi. Well, actually, sorry, the team finished 4th in 2009 in the qualifying final, got knocked out in the first round. But Sione Lausi, he made his Warriors debut in 2010. He played 7 games that year. And he had a 50-game stint at the Warriors between 2010 and 2016. Yep. John Pallavi, Warriors 20s, he played 2009 to 2012. So he had a very long stint there. Warriors debut in 2014, played 2 games. All up, he was at the Warriors from 2014 to 2016 and only played the 5 games. Ben Henry, he played 20s from 2009 to 2011. He made his first grade debut for the Warriors in 2012, playing 24 games. And he had probably one of the most unlucky players in Warriors history. He played first grade for the Warriors 2012 to 2016. He just had a shocking run with injuries. Round 1, 2016, I remember he did his ACL again for about the 3rd time or something like that. When he was able to be on the field, he was excellent, very versatile player. Whether it be in the centres or the second row. And also one Sean Johnson made his Warriors debut in 2011, played 16 games, and in his first Warriors stint from 2011 to 2018, 162 games. Went to the Sharks 2019 to 21, 44 games, and 21 games so far back at the Warriors in 2022.
Yeah, just a reminder, guys, that these names that we're going through, we're just talking
under
about
20s players.
Under 20s players that went through and became first grade footballers. That's what we're discussing at the moment. 2010, Sasai Feki. He played 2010 and 2011 for the Junior Warriors in the 20s, and then made his Sharks debut in 2013. And you could argue he is one that went on to great things. Played had a solid career at the Sharks, 2013 to 2019, before he left to go to the Super League.
Became a genuine first grader, so he did take his game to another level. Like he had the opportunity there, and had a good seven seasons there at the Sharks. Was a very good player, good try scorer.
Correct.
Good under the high ball as well. So
yep. The rest of the 2010 graduating class, Glenn Fisiahi. He made his Warriors first grade debut in 2011, playing 4 games that season. He played 25 games for the Warriors 2011 to 2015 before did he go Super League?
He went to the Chiefs, Super Rugby.
Oh, Super Rugby.
Yeah, very unlucky with injuries, as also the flying fish, but geez, couldn't he run?
Probably best remembered for that bomb try against South in the under-20s.
Oh, yeah, what about that one? Doing the old...
it was a front row. What was his name? He went on to play first grade. Can't remember his name though. That knocked the ball out from
I can see the guy, but I can't think of his name.
Played at the Cowboys as well.
Oh, it'll come to me probably later on.
Sebastian Ikahahifo. He was at the Warriors 20s for 2 seasons, 2010, 2011. He debuted for the NRL side in 2012, playing 4 games, and played 39 games for the club 2012-2015 before going on to the Super League. Sam Lousy, younger brother of Sione. He played 20s, 2010, 2011. Debuted in 2012, playing 2 games, and he only played 3 games in his whole league career before he made a switch to rugby as well.
He played for the Waratahs, and then he went back to the Hurricanes. As far as I'm aware, he didn't play for the All Blacks, but he did have a fairly solid Super Rugby career, I suppose. He was a
Yep.
great, big, strong, strapping young lad. Was Sione Lousy.
One of the
Sam
next two
Lousy,
players, Sam Lousy. The next two
Yeah.
players are two of those players that fall under the umbrella of had all the big raps on them and actually amounted to nothing. Omar Slimeankle. He played 2010, 2011 for the Junior Warriors, debuted for the Warriors in 2012, played 5 games and then dropped off the face of the earth. I think he ended up in England, did he?
Yes. Oh, no, he went. I think he went to rugby union as well.
Did he?
I think, but he ended up. He was at the Roosters for a while.
Yeah.
But he's back in Sydney. Someone was saying he's playing for a team in Sydney.
Actually, I did see that. I think he's playing New South Wales Cup somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carlos Tuamavave, another one who had, all the accolades heaped upon
Massive
him.
raps on him. Yeah.
Warriors 20s for 2 seasons, 2010, 2011. Warriors debut in 2012 for 5 games. Warriors, he played 2012, 2014 for 9 games. Went to the Knights for an opportunity in 2015 and only played 5 games. And I think he's over in the English Super League now, isn't he?
He has been for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
His debut for the Knights was against us, and he had a blinder.
Yeah,
of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Omar. Oh, he was on the block. That's right. I knew there was something about him.
Yeah.
I don't watch the block, but I did hear something about it. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of reality TV, except for maths, of course.
Of course, mate. Yes.
Sam Lousy was a huge player. He was massive guy.
Yeah.
2011, we won in 2011, 31-30. Conrad Hurrell, Warriors debut in 2012. He played 17 games. He played for the Warriors from 2012 to 2016 for 71 games, and he went to the Titans mid-season 2016 to 2018. Played 45 games, and he ended up in Super League as well, where he's still playing now.
Yep.
Liggy Sale, Warriors 20s, 2011 to 2012. He went to Manly, made his debut in 2013. So he played for Manly from 2013 to 2015. He played 21 games. We signed him back, and in a 4-year stint, he only played 26 games for the Warriors. He's now playing for Toa Samoa.
Yep.
Currently, and he playing his trade over in the English Super League.
Yep.
Saliva Havili, Warriors 20s from 2011 to 2012. Made his debut for the Warriors in 2014, playing 6 games. He played 14 games in total for the Warriors between 2014 and 15. 2016, he went to the Dragons, played 10 games. The Raiders, 2018 to 21, played 80 games. And the Rabbitohs, currently 23 games. Ignatius Parsi, played Warriors 20s in 2011, played 1 game in 2014 before going over to the Titans. He had a fairly successful stint at the Titans.
Yes.
He got his opportunity there, played 54 games between 2015 and 2017 before coming back to us in 2018. Played through to 2020, 52 games there. And here's one that I think as guys already got to mention quite a few times. And here's another one, the exception that proves the rule, as they say. Sio Siwa Taukiaho, Warriors 20s from 2011 to 2012. He played his one and only game for the Warriors in the final round of 2013, the one game before Matt Elliott decided that he was not going to be a first-grade player. So he came over to Australia, to the Roosters. Took a while to make his debut for the Roosters, but when he did, he didn't look back. 2015 to 2022, his stint at the Roosters, 167 games. And yes, he did indeed take his game to another level at the Roosters, but he just did not get the opportunity at the Warriors.
However, Siwa Taukiaho was a centre when he played at the Warriors in the 20s. He wasn't a front rower. He wasn't a middle forward. He came through as a centre when he did play for the Warriors. So,
I think I remember that.
And as you said, mate, he left us at the end of 2013. It took him a whole season before he could crack the first grade at the Roosters in 2015. So he didn't leave the Warriors and explode into this massive superstar straight away. But he has gone on to bigger and better things most definitely.
He certainly has. Yeah.
And Ignatius Parsi, when he came back from the Titans to the Warriors, I thought he was a solid player for us. And I think he might have extended his stay with the club had COVID not hit. And he went home midway through that 2020 season when the Warriors were stuck here because his wife was back in New Zealand with 4 kids on her own.
Yes, yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen Ignatius stay a bit longer, but yeah, he's over in the Super League plying his trade now. 2012, this was the year that they expected the Warriors to go back to back in the 20s. We finished second. We were knocked out in the semi-finals of that year. The players in that 2012 Toyota Cup side or Holden Cup side, whatever it was back then, that went on to play first grade. Peta Hiku. He played Warriors 20s in 2012. He debuted for Manly in 2013, playing 12 games. He had a 3-year stint at Manly, playing 60 games. Went to Penrith for a year and a half, played 20 games there before he came back home to the Warriors 2018 to 2021, where he played 73 games and has moved on to the Cowboys now, played 26 games for the Cowboys this year. I guess you could argue he has gone on to play better at the Cowboys, but I don't know. I thought he was quite good for the Warriors.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't say that he's playing that much better at the Cowboys than he did. He was a very good player for us.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
That's right. Omar, Ricky has just said, he got a massive offer from Japan to switch codes. That's right. I knew there was some rugby union in there somewhere. Omar Schleimaker, we went to Japanese rugby on a big money deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
David Fusatua played 20s in 2012 and 2013. Made his debut for the club in 2014. Played 2014 to 2021, 108 games for the club. Nani Lamape, Warriors 20s in 2012. Debuted for the Warriors in 2013, playing 14 games. Played 2 seasons for 30 games at the Warriors before he left and went to rugby union.
I loved him.
He is one player that I do. So he is one of the legitimate. Why did we let him go? Players. I really.
For sure. Such a tough player to tackle. Short, nuggety, powerful.
Yeah.
I remember him. Yeah, he scored some great tries for us. Yeah,
he was like, and I think after he left, that's when we started getting these Solomon Akata, Conrad Harrell type guys coming through. But he was the guy that was better at it.
He was exactly 100% more consistent, better in defence, and just less mistakes in his game too. Yeah.
Mason Linor, he came through the Warriors in that 2012 season. He played 3 seasons of 20s, 2012, 2013, 2014. Made his Warriors debut in 2015, playing 3 games. Played 17 games for the Warriors from 2015 to 2018, and then moved on to the Knights, where he played 17 games, 2019, 2020. And you would say that he's one that probably would have stayed at the club had...
Unlucky. He's unlucky.
He left. He signed for the Knights 2 weeks before the whole Sean Johnson debacle blew up. He would have stayed. He would have been our halfback in 2019, or had first dibs at that in 2019. Mason. He was a relatively solid player, but left the Warriors and didn't do massive things at Knights. Albert Vete, Warriors 20s in 2012 and 2014. Made his Warriors debut in 2015, playing 21 games that season. Played 3 seasons for 46 games, and then went to the Storm in 2018. Played 8 games and got a premiership ring, didn't he?
He did. He did as an extended squad member.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone was saying, "See, he went to the Storm and got a premiership." I was like, I don't think you guys understand how this works.
No.
But technically, actually, no. They don't give premiership rings to extended squad in the NRL, do they? That's only like an American thing.
They only if the club requests them. So they get.
Oh, okay.
I think there's 25 made up for the day, and then if you want any more above that, they've got to pay for them.
Yeah, okay. So maybe he requested one.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on to 2013. We were in the grand final, runners-up to Red Hot Penrith that year.
Yep.
Solomon Carter, Warriors 20s. He played 2013, 2014. Made his debut in 2015, 24 games. All up in his Warriors stint from 2015 to 2019. Played 93 games. Had his moments.
Yep.
Blockbusting, nuggety little centre that could score a try. Loved to go from dummy half. So much so that it was probably telegraphed a lot of the time. But anyway, he went on to the Storm. I don't think he played any first grade for the Storm, but he did go on to play for the Brumbies.
Yes.
And he's playing for Moana Pacifica now, isn't he? In the
Yes.
Super Rugby. Tui Lolohea. Tuimoala Lolohea, Warriors 20s in 2013, 2014. Made his much anticipated Warriors debut in 2014, playing with 3 games. All up in his Warriors stint, 2014 to 2017. 52 games. He got jack of playing on the wing under Mooks, so he requested a release. And he went to the Tigers, 2017 to 2018, played 19 games before being shipped off to the ESL.
Yeah.
Where he still is today. And Raymond Fatala Mariner. This is an interesting one because it leads us into a bit of a discussion topic of someone else whose name has already come up. Warriors 20s in 2013 to 2014. He made his debut in 2015. He played 11 games. And in his stint all up, 2015 to 2016, he played 12 games for being part of that well-documented trade deal or the swap with Sean Lane. So he went over to the Bulldogs. Sean Lane came over to the Warriors. The Bulldogs definitely got the better end of the stick there because Raymond is still at the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
2016 to 2022, he stint there, 88 games. We'll get to Sean Lane later on.
Yes, we will.
Sorry, Sambo. Sambo skipper himself, Sam Lasone.
Yep.
Warriors 20s, 2013 to 2014. He made his debut in 2015, the same game as Albert Vete. These guys were much publicised 20s converts. 19 games in 2015, all up in his stint with the Warriors 2015 to 2019, 85 games. Was a bit sort of in and out of the team in his stint there. Went to the Titans in 2020, 2020 to 22. He's still currently contracted the Titans. 48 games so far. Toff Sipley, Warriors 20s in 2013, 2015. He made his Warriors debut in 2016 and just played the 2 games for the Warriors that year. He went on to Manly, and from 2018 to 2022, he's played 53 games all up. It's only been recent years that I think he's really solidified his spot in that Manly side.
This year.
Just this year.
Yeah.
Ken Mamalo, Warriors 20s in 13 and 14. He made his Warriors debut in 2015, 8 games that year. All up his Warriors stint 2015 to 2021, 106 games. He had a bit of a slow start to his career and really struggled. But once he started scoring tries, he just became like a absolute freak out there on the wing. And for a big man, very agile. Fondly remembered Warriors graduate, and went on to the Tigers in 2021 to 2022, 29 games, and he's continued to play well for the Tigers as well. In fact, I'd say he's continued his form.
Yeah.
Still scoring tries for them and playing well, big meters from his kick returns.
Yeah. Some interesting guys in this one, like Tui Lolohea. For his 52 games at the Warriors, I really only remember one, and that was the Golden Point win against the Roosters at Central Coast Stadium in 2016, where he took that kick and then offloaded to Roger, and Roger ran away and fended off Sean Kenny Dow to score. And Sam Lazzoni, one of the things you remember him for his field goal.
That Golden Point game against Manly, where he I'm going to say attempted a field goal because I don't even think he connected. I think he took more of a chunk of turf out of the ground. But I think most people, whenever you bring up his name, will still remember him. Field goal extraordinaire. Skipper.
I fondly remember him in the 2018 round 3 game against the Raiders at Canberra, where Sean Johnson kicked 2 field goals to win the game, and it was all on the back of Sam Lazzoni. He took the first run of the set and the last run of each set to set Sean up for those 2 field goals. I still remember that. Fond memories of Big Sambo Skipper on that day. Yeah, he's a funny man.
Very funny man. He's got a. I think he's got a blossoming acting or comedy career. I think after he retires. Yeah,
absolutely. I'll tell you what he won't do. He won't be able to work in with reptiles or animals.
No, he's not keen on those, is he?
No, he's
Check
not.
out his social media. Yeah.
2014 Warriors premiers against the Broncos. I was at that game. The one where we led
34-8 and won 34-32.
Yep. Yeah. That was a hot day. That was a really hot day. A couple of guys in this 2014 team, Warriors 20s team, a bit of a myth about them as well. Brad Abbey, Warriors 20s in 2014, 2015, supposed to be the next big thing. Couldn't crack it at the Warriors, went to the Bulldogs, made his NRL debut in 2017 playing just 4 games. Went to the Raiders in 2018, played 9 games, and then the Roosters, he played 1 game in 2021.
The whinging when we released this guy was unbelievable. It was, this guy's going to come back and horn. It was like, I just remember it. And I'm like, this guy's hasn't even played first grade yet.
Nathaniel Roach, another of the unlucky injury-prone Warriors that came through. Warriors 20s in 2014, 2015. Made his debut in 2016. Played 11 games that year. In his 4 years at the club, he only managed to play 26 games. And that wasn't through form. That was through injury.
He was very solid when he was on the field.
Yeah. Went to the Eels in 2019. He's only played 1 game at the Eels. And then the greatest Warriors 20 player of all time, Jazz Tavanga. Warriors 20s, 2014, 2015. He made his Warriors debut in 2016, played 11 games. He's still a current member of our Warriors squad. And he's played 108 games so far.
Still going strong.
Still going strong, our mate Jazz.
Yeah. 2015, we finished 7th, but we made it through to the preliminary final. Here we go, some names here. Ada Hingano, Warriors 20s in 2015. Made his Warriors debut in 2016. He played the 2 games. All up in his 2-year Warriors stint, 2016 to 2017. He played 15 games. He got jack of it when we signed Kieran Foran, so he asked for a release. And he might have been Blake Green, actually. When we got Blake Green in 2018, he said he took his talents to Canberra, and in 2018 he played 9 games. And I think he's playing the Queensland Cup at the moment. Murata Niakure, Warriors 20s in 2015, 2016. He went on to the Eels and he made his first grade debut there in 2018 and he played 14 games. I'm pretty sure he made his first grade debut against us. He did. As they tend to do. And he has enjoyed a very successful stint at the Eels, 96 games before coming back to where it all started for him. Another one you could probably argue, got his opportunity in first grade and, became a Kiwi international. Aaron Clark, Warriors 20s in 2015 to 2016. Played just the 1 game for the Warriors in 2017. He's gone on to play 50 games for the Titans from 2020 to 2022. He's been a regular contributor for the Titans. Ofahiki Ogden, Warriors 20s in 2015 to 2016. Went to the Bulldogs. Made his debut in 2018, 9 games. Bulldogs from 2018 to 2021, 45 games all up. Eels this year, just the 2 games.
Sorry, mate. I'm counting.
I'll continue on. 2016.
Yeah, mate.
This was the second last season of the 20s. Junior Palga, Warriors 20s in 2016, 2017. He played for the Tigers, made his NRL debut for the Tigers in 21, played 2 games. So far, he's played 4 games for the Tigers. Best remembered for not knowing that the dropout hadn't gone 10 metres. and touch the ball in that game up there in Townsville. Chanel Harris-Tavita, 2016 to 2017. Warriors NRL debut in 2019. He played 13 games, all up in his Warriors stint, 54 games between 2019 and 22. Here we go. Isaiah Papali'i, Warriors 20s in 2016 to 2017. He made his debut in 2017, 5 games that year. All up, played 63 games for the Warriors between 2017 and 2020 before famously moving to the Eels, becoming one of the genuine superstars of the game. Why did we let him go? 53 games in his stint between 2021 to 2022. And he is now off to the Tigers, or is he? Well, at the moment, yes, he is.
Yes. And then 2017, the final year of the under-20s competition, the Warriors finished with the wooden spoon, stone motherless last. No players graduated to the NRL from the 2017 under-20s list. So, in a quick recap, from 2008 to 2017, so what's that, nine years of Holden Cup, 47 players graduated from the 20s to the NRL, from the Warriors 20s to the NRL. 41 of them did it at the Warriors, and only 6 did it going from the Warriors to another club, made their NRL debut at another club. So there's this myth that is around that so many players the Warriors let go from their 20s that went on to great things at other clubs. There's 6. And Feki, Liggy Sau, Petahiku, who came back to the Warriors.
Takiaho.
Well, no, he played his debut at the Warriors, so he doesn't count.
Yep.
Let me have a look. Who was it? Brad Abbey, Steve Rapira, Nath Salawini. So they're not big names.
No.
It's not massive names of NRL superstars. So I think we've dispelled that myth that so many 20s players have gone on to great things at other clubs. Hasn't happened. A lot of the guys that did debut in our 20s stayed at the club for several years, and then if they're not at the club now, most of them have gone to the English Super League. There's not a lot of them running around in the NRL, which brings us to the NRL players that played at our club and then left our club, and people think that they've gone on to great things at other clubs. And
killed it. Yep.
I went right back. To the first player I've listed is Wairangi Korpu, who was a big member of the Warriors from 99 through to 2008. Played 159 games for the club. He averaged 17 games a season. In the mid part of his stint, 2003, 2004, I think he was played 24 and 25 games. He left to go to the Storm in 2009, but he only managed to play 12 games at the Storm. He is still playing now, though. Big Wairangi.
He is amazingly.
Yeah.
He'd have to be about 43, 44.
Yeah, he would.
Having a very good career in the media over there as well.
He is. Paul Fatawira was another one. He played the Warriors in 2000. He played 5 games. Went to the Storm in 2001, played 6 games. Then he was at Penrith 2002 to 2004, where he won a premiership at Penrith before moving to the Tigers in 2005 and winning a premiership there. You could argue that he did go on to bigger and better things once he left the Warriors. Had very limited game time at the Warriors, though.
He was very young when he was at the Warriors as well. Yeah, and we also had Nigel Vunganar there at the time.
Yeah. Do you want to go through the next couple, mate?
Yeah, mate. Richard Villasanti, he played the Tigers from 99 to 2000. He had a very, very successful stint at the Warriors. 2000, more of a stint. He had a fairly long stay. 2001 to 2006, he was at the Warriors. Before moving on to the Sharks in 2006, mid-season, I think it was. And he only played the 7 games before finishing his NRL career.
Yeah, at the Tigers, he only played 13 games over those 2 seasons. So he
played the bulk of his footy at the Warriors. Yep.
Where he averaged 13 games a season at the Warriors. So you could say that didn't go on to bigger and better things once he left the Warriors. I can say that.
He played his best footy at the Warriors for sure.
Yep.
Sione Faumuina, he debuted for the Raiders in 2001, again against the Warriors. Something about these guys debuting against the Warriors. Famously said that when he did play for the Raiders against the Warriors and ran out to Mount Smart, he said he felt he was running out for the wrong team. I always remember him saying that. Played for the Warriors in 2002 to 2006. I've got a massive soft spot for Sione Faumuina. He was an unbelievably creative edge forward. Had his problems when he was at the Warriors, as everyone knows, and was moved on. He went to the Cowboys in 2007 to 2008 and averaged about 15 games a season there. But we definitely got the best out of Sione Faumuina.
Yep.
Evan Tuimavave played for the Warriors from 2002 to 2009. He did go on to the Knights for 3 years, 3-year stint at the Knights, 2010 to 2012, but he only played 33 games in those 3 seasons. I think he ended up in the Super League as well. Nathan Feen played for the Cowboys 2000 to 2004, played for the Warriors 2005 to 2009 before mid-season release of the Dragons in 2009. Played with them to 2013. He did win a premiership in 2010 with the Dragons, but to say that he greatly improved once he left the Warriors is a bit of a stretch. He joined a very good St. George team that were destined for big things.
Yep.
Our mate Rabs, Grant Ravelli, Warriors 2006 to 2008. He averaged about 23 games a season there. He went to the Cowboys, the back end, 2009 to 2010, and averaged just 13 games a season there. We definitely got the best out of Rabs.
Yep.
Georgie Gaddis, Cowboys 01 to 03, Warriors 06 to 07, and then back to the Cowboys for 2008 for 1 game. He was good at the Cowboys. He was very good for us.
Yes.
So I think he's kind of leveled out there.
One of my favourites is the next guy we've got on the list, Wade McKinnon.
Yeah.
Loved Wado. Started at the Rabbits 2002-03, went to the Eels 04 to 06, played at the Warriors from 2007 to 2010. He played 54 games for us, scoring 13 tries. Then he went to the Tigers 2010-2011. Only played 22 games for the Tigers over the 2 years and scored 4 tries. I think we had the best of Wade McKinnon in that one.
He certainly did. He was unbelievable in that 2007 season.
Yeah. Russell Packer. He was at the Warriors from 2008 to 2013. Then he went to prison. Had a bit of a stint in prison. Made his resurgence back in the NRL back in 2016, 2017. His Dragon stint was pretty good, but that prison sentence that took time out of the game before, between the Warriors and the Dragons. So you can't really say, he's gone from one to the other.
Straight from the Warriors to the Dragons and then just take his game to another level. It's not the same thing.
No. Then in his final 3 seasons at the Tigers, he only played 12 games in those final 3 seasons. He was
as Malcolm's saying, best known for relieving himself on the field that night at Suncorp.
He's only the second guy I've ever seen do that. The first
was
was
Don McKinnon.
Don McKinnon.
Yeah. Same ground as well.
Yeah.
What is it about Suncorp Stadium?
Donnie McKinnon. Yeah, I love
Wasn't it
Donnie
the Broncos' first game?
Broncos Manly. Yeah, first game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Don McKinnon left the Bears and gone Manly, so we hated him after that.
Yeah, right.
Benny Matalino, we spoke about him being in the 20s. So he played 212 games for the Warriors. He averaged 21 in his Warriors playing days, 2008 to 2017. He went to the Tigers. He only managed 36 games playing for the Tigers.
I think he went there injured as well.
He did. I think they released him early from the final year of his contract. I think he had a 3-year contract, only played 2.
Yep.
Your mate, Louis Brown.
The TV presenter superstar.
Yeah.
Frosted tips. Yep.
Tell us about him.
Yeah, Louis Brown, Warriors from 2009 to 2012. I think he was the first guy that Uncle Ivan poached after he went over to Penrith. He signed for 2013 to 2015. He had a reasonably solid stint at Penrith, I think you could say. And he did the same at Manly. Look, he basically kept doing what he did for us. That was like plugging a gap, whereas it be centres, back row, hooker, versatile player. So I mean, yeah, he continued on his same trajectory.
He was one of those guys. We spoke about him yesterday, you and I, in a conversation. He was just one of those guys that just did a job for the coaches. Like at the Warriors, he averaged 21 games a season when he was at the Warriors. He went to the Panthers, he averaged 22 games a season at the Panthers. And then when he went to Manly, he averaged 23 games a season in his first 2 seasons. But he only played just 2 games in his final season at Manly.
Yeah.
Couldn't crack it into the first grade squad. But yeah, he was, without being overly... a great player. He was just a guy that did a job. Famously. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was just going to say, everyone remembers the lead-up work from Shawnee, but he was the guy that scored that try.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be one of those Mandela effect things. Everyone's going to think back, it was Sean Johnson that scored the try. It was actually Louis Brown. Yep. Yeah, as Ken said, he was very consistent, absolutely.
Yep.
Feleti Mateo, another guy that I had a real soft spot for as well. I think I like these big, creative edge forwards.
Yes.
He played for the Warriors from 2011 to 2014. Outstanding in 2011. In fact, he was the buy of the season in 2011, guiding us to that grand final appearance. He was released the first year of a 3-year contract in 2014. Went to Manly, 2015 to 2016. Only played 3 games, though, in his final season.
Yeah. And averaged just 11 in his other 2 seasons at Manly, whereas at the Warriors, he averaged 24 games a season.
Yeah, again, I would say we got the best out of him, but unfortunately, it was probably just for that 2011 season.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, he could offload. Like some of the passes you saw him get away were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And speaking of ex-Parramatta players, Chris Naninu, his name did come up before. Warriors 2011 to 2012. He had such a short stint, but such a short and memorable and eventful stint at the Warriors.
Yes.
2011 to 2012, he was in and out of the team all year. I don't know if any of you guys caught his chat with Monty on the Once for Warrior, but he actually told some really interesting stories there about the build up to that Tigers game when he did score that try to get us into the...
Did you find he talks the way he played?
Casual.
Yes.
Very casual. I think if there's one word that could sum up Chris Nanu, it's either casual or just chilled.
Yes.
And he played, and unfortunately, I think he trained that way as well, which put him offside with quite a few coaches. So he played really well in 2011. He didn't get the opportunities under Bluey McLennan, who ironically debuted him
after one game at Parramatta.
And it was bizarre that they obviously had a bit of a falling out when Bluey McLennan took up. I think Bluey McLennan had a falling out with quite a few people, actually. Yes. The only coach to not see out his first season as head coach in first grade. So there you go. But anyway, he moved on to the Bulldogs mid-season and famously went out a rich vein of form for the Bulldogs that guided them to that 2012 grand final against the Storm, which they went on to lose. And then his form kind of dropped off a cliff from there, 2013, 2014. He went over to ESL where he's still playing. Playing over taking it easy, I'm sure.
Catalan? Yeah.
He was. I'm not sure if he's still with them, but look, a guy that could have been anything. Yeah. On his day, Chris Nananu could have been anything. And look, we got some great moments from him. We got arguably one of the great semi-final tries from him, and he was just a guy that could just produce something like that out of nothing. He had that in him. Unfortunately, he also had a few other things in him.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had a bit of a mixed bag from him. Some good and bad moments, and I think that kind of unfortunately summed up his career.
Yeah, I think so.
Elijah Taylor, Warriors 2011 to 2013, 67 games in 3 seasons. Penrith 2014 to 2016, 39 games in 3 seasons. Tigers 2016 to 2020, 80 games in 5 seasons. I think he's much like Louis Brown. He went on to play for Penrith, played quite well for Penrith. You'd probably argue probably about the same that he played for the Warriors because he was very good for the Warriors.
Yep.
Continued that on with the Tigers as well. 80 games and 5 seasons. Yeah. And, okay, here's one that will get a few people talking. Shaun Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Shawnee. Warriors 2011 to 2018. Very memorable debut season in 2011. No one will ever forget that. And 162 games in that first stint and 21 game average. Looked to finally be hitting his straps in 2018.
Yep.
It was always a guy that could produce that miracle off the cuff kind of play, but was probably never regarded as a true game managing halfback. And it looked like in the 2018 season, he'd finally come into his own. That combination he had with Dave Fusatua out in that wing was unreal. And then before we knew it, he was released and he was off to the Sharks. He spent 3 seasons at the Sharks in 2019 to 2021. 44 games, 15 game average. He did have a lot of injuries there. I would argue that he did not do anything to significantly better the Sharks when he was there. He was playing alongside an organising half in Chad Townsend, so he probably took a lot of pressure off him.
Yep.
Sharks, 2019, I think they finished 7th out first week in the finals. 2020, they famously did not beat a top 8 side all year, but still played finals.
Finals, yep.
And they got knocked out first round in the finals. And his last year at the Sharks,
they didn't make the finals.
21, they didn't make the finals. He had an up and down year with injury.
Yeah.
And 2022, unfortunately, proved he hasn't exactly become the controlling half that we'd hoped that he had become during his Sharks stint. But he's still on our books for next year. And look, any Warriors fan has a soft spot for Shaun Johnson. Let's not deny it. 2011, yep.
2011 aside, was it 2015 or 2016 where he got injured against Manly when we were 4th?
2015.
So I would say then 2015. That first half of 2015 was probably one of the best seasons he's had in a Warriors jersey.
Yep.
We were sitting 4th. He got injured in that game against Manly, scoring a try.
Tommy Simons fell on his ankle.
In that god-awful Tafare jersey that they had.
The brown honour board, wasn't it?
That's it.
The wood carving.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we went on to lose 9 games straight at the end of that season. And
with one Tui Lola here playing halfback the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, I will say about Shaun in 2013 to 2015, and lesser extent 2016, he did have a solid run of form. 2014, he was very good as well. We missed out in the finals by literally like 4 and against. So he definitely had his moments.
Malcolm Earnshaw is saying, do you think SJ is a 6 or a 7?
He played a bit of 6 for us. I think when Jeff Robson. He played 6 alongside Jeff Robson. So
I'm going to go out on I think Shaun Johnson probably would have been at his best as a 1 at the early stages of his career. I would have had him at fullback. Just let him chime in where he needed to chime in. He's got the kicking game. I just think he would have been a great fullback. Probably had a lot more success playing fullback, but he's not a fullback now. He's too old and too slow.
Why don't you continue? Well, I'll be back in 1 minute.
Yeah, mate, no dramas. So we'll push on. I will say this about Shaun Johnson though. This year he struggled to find form. He did kick us to 2 Golden Point wins during the season, but he did struggle to find form. I thought Mark Roberts says SJ would have been a great 14. I think so too. Probably now, I think he'd be a great 14 if we had a decent 7 to come in and take over. Looking at SJ playing in those homecoming games in New Zealand, he was a different person. So I think being back home in New Zealand next year, we may get a better version of Shaun Johnson, obviously, than we got this year. Who knows? He'll be playing for a contract as well. contract extension. So hopefully we get a really positive Sean Johnson playing next year for the Warriors. I'll move on. Conrad Harrell, we spoke about him as a 20s graduate. He played at the Warriors 2012, 2016, 71 games and 41 tries. He went on to he's at the Titans now, 2016 to 2018. He's played not now. He went on to the Titans 2016 to 2018, played 44 games and scored 14 tries. I would say that we got the best of Conrad Harrell. He had an issue with his weight, and he still has an issue with his weight now. I think he's just way too big.
Were not kind for him. Yeah.
No. And now he's over in the English Super League. But I think we had the better version of Conrad Harrell than what the Titans got.
Yeah.
Saliva Havili, we spoke about him as a 20s graduate. The Warriors 2014 to 2015. He had 6 and 8 appearances respectively in those years. Dragons 2016, he only played 10 games, and then Canberra. That's probably where he became a regular first grader, coming off the bench for like 15, 20 minutes a game. And then this year at South, he was crucial to South's drive through to the semi-finals. So I think Havili has gone on to better things now that he's older and later in his career.
He's developed. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when we released him to the Dragons, I don't think he was any better than the version that we had at the Warriors. No. And I threw one in that we spoke about yesterday. James Gavitt started off at the Bulldogs in 2012. He had 1 game. Went to the Tigers in 2014. Played 12 games. Broncos in 2015 and only played 1 game. Came to the Warriors in 2016. Had 3 seasons and played 42 games before he went to the Knights in 2019 and only made 18 appearances. And I would say that we got the best version of James Gavitt.
He floated around a few clubs, had some bad injuries, and had some off-field issues as well. But we got a solid stint out of him. Yeah,
mate. And then I've got a list of 20 guns that did nothing in first grade and were released, and did nothing at their new clubs either. Now these are guys that we spoke about before. They were billed as going to be the next big thing coming out of our 20 system, and just really fizzled. And the Omo Slime Ankle, Carlos Tuamavavi, John Palavi, Tui Lolahia, Ada Hingano, Sam Lazzoni, Albert Vete, Mason Linor, and Nathaniel Roach. No arguments there?
No. Exactly. Speaks for itself.
Yep.
A list of guys that were recent releases from the Warriors that probably haven't really shown any improvement, so further dispelling the myth. Livaha Pulu, Lockie Burr, Patrick Herbert, Adam Kieran, Paul Turner, Jermaine Tanoa Brown, Hayes Perham, Cody Nikorima, and Carl Lawton. These guys have all gone on to play first grade here and there, some of them more regularly than others, but haven't, become out-and-out superstars like, is claimed. They haven't, put it this way, they haven't gone and papali'd it.
No. So now we've got a list of players that are the exception to the rule. These are guys that spent some time at the Warriors, signed with other clubs, and continued their careers in the upward trajectory. And that's not saying that they went on to bigger and better things. Some of them played really good at the Warriors and just continued that on.
We should just say, we're not having a go at these guys. As Mark Roberts is saying there, we're just saying that these are not guys that left the club that became like superstars. That's just the point we're making here.
Yeah. And I love Lockie Burr. I've known Lockie Burr since he was a kid. He's my boy. So the exception to the rule, Nigel Vunganar. So Nigel played 4 seasons at the Warriors. He was a prolific try scorer. He moved to the Bulldogs in 2001, where he continued his try-scoring feats in his 3 seasons at the club, and then he played for the Sharks and the Rabbits. And the only thing that really slowed Nigel down was age.
Correct. Yeah.
One of our good mates, mate. The next guy on the list.
Absolutely. Yeah. PJ Marsh. Injury forced him out of the game and he had to break his 3-year contract with the club early at the end of 2003 with that horrific spinal injury. So he sat out the entire 2004 season, but he returned in force to para and returned to his regular playing form, what we absolutely knew he was capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. One guy that came up earlier, Jimmy Maloney, he came to the Warriors looking to play first grade, and we were the only club to offer him a contract. There's a funny story in there, mate, that he told his manager. What was that story?
He said, "I'm looking for a first grade gig anywhere, just not Auckland or Canberra."
Yeah. Yeah. So he ended up at the Warriors. Played 3 seasons at our club. Was absolutely brilliant as a 5'8", wearing that 6 jersey at the Warriors.
Yep.
Really solidified himself as a first grade footy player. He needed and wanted to return to Australia. He won premierships at the Roosters and Sharks. He's just a winner. Jimmy wins. He was just a winner of a guy.
They reckon he knew how to win at anything. I think this was also in the Krisnan Inu chat.
Yeah.
He goes, Jimmy Maloney was just a born winner. Like he said, no matter what game they played at training, he would find a way to win it.
Yep. Yep. He's a winner. Taukiaho, we spoke about him. He did play 1 game in 2013 for the Warriors. It was the final game of the season, promoted from the 20s. He joined the Roosters in 2014. He didn't debut until 2015, but he has gone on to bigger and better things.
Definitely has.
Yeah, most definitely.
Raymond Faitala Mariner, we spoke about him before, played 11 games for the Warriors in 2015 and 2016 before he was released in a swap deal to the Bulldogs for Sean Lane. He's been solid. He missed a lot of games through injury, but look, he's forged a very good career there at the Bulldogs. They've held on to him, and they've re-signed him just recently, I think, as well. Yeah. Which brings us to the next name on the list, Sean Lane. Famously, came to the Warriors in 2016 in that said swap deal with Raymond Faitala Mariner. He played 1 first-grade game in 2016. Okay, if you guys want to know what Sean Lane thought about his time at the Warriors and thought about New Zealand, go and watch his chat with Denon Kemp in the Locker Room podcast, and you'll be under no illusions as to why he left. He absolutely hated his time in New Zealand. He said he didn't want to spend 1 second there longer than he had to, and he was on the first plane out of Auckland. So he was never going to stay around. He said he only took the deal because he thought there was a chance that he could play first grade and because we had Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Yeah.
And he thought there might be a chance that he could play in a finals-bound team, which wasn't to be. Was on the first plane out of New Zealand as soon as the season wrapped up in end of 2016. Signed with Manly in 2017. Played only 9 games. But he didn't become the strong edge back row we see today until his second season at Manly in 2018. And then obviously he's gone on to be, one of the
very strong at Parramatta
second rows in our game.
Yeah.
So he did, but if it's any consolation to any of you guys, he was never going to stay at the Warriors.
No. But why did we let him go?
Exactly. We should have forced him to stay and play for us.
His back row edge partner in Isaiah Papali'i, we spoke about his graduation from 20s through at the Warriors. No question, he was mismanaged by the club, the Warriors club, in terms 100%. Of his development. They tried to turn him into a middle forward, bulked him up, took him out of his comfort zone and away from the edge position that he was familiar playing. Didn't get the minutes that he wanted at the Warriors, looked for another opportunity. Parramatta snapped him up at bargain basement dollar price, trimmed him down, put him back on an edge, and it's no fluke. He's done what he's done for the past 2 seasons. Been, probably arguably the best edge back rower in the game.
Yeah, long as kick out.
Sure. Yeah. Gives David Fafita something to think about, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think he actually coined our WD.
He did.
What is it?
Yeah. Why did WD? I've got it.
WDWLHG.
That's it.
That's trending now under RNH.
Yeah.
Look, no question. He is He is the captain and coach of that side.
He is. He is.
Yeah. Chance Nickel Klukster made his debut in 2017. He played just the 7 games for us. He was stuck behind RTS at the Warriors and got no opportunity in 2018. And he had the opportunity to trial with Canberra, I believe. Took that opportunity. Had a fantastic season in 2019. Played in the NRL Grand Final. And we're all sitting there going, well, look. To be fair, it was a difficult one because he was never going to play fullback ahead of Rog.
No, but he could have played centres.
He could have played centres, but he had Fuss and Ken on the wings. He could have played centres, but then we were saying we had Carter, we had we signed Gerard Beale, Hiku, yep. So yeah, like in hindsight, it would have been worth persisting with him in the centres, as it looks like he may very well end up there in his second coming as a Warrior. So we shall see, but he's back with us, so that makes it a little bit easier to take.
And Mark Roberts is saying Ice is the vice captain of the Doreen 13. Well, he hasn't played yet, so he can't actually get his official jersey of the Mike Doreen Tiger Warriors 17. But he'll be in that side, don't you?
He's an automatic selection.
Yeah.
As they're saying, like CNK, was outstanding when he went to the Raiders. It did taper off a little bit. He got injuries, and then once he signed with the Warriors, Ricky stopped playing him in first grade. Yeah. Which is what we probably should have done with some guys in our team. But anyway.
Jay saying, look what we've done with Walshy. Why couldn't we do that for Chance back then? Well, because we did that with Walshy because Roger was leaving. We weren't going to move Roger to a wing to accommodate a young Chance Nickel Klukster when Roger was
with all due respect to him,
the Dally M, fullback and player of the year that year too.
Mark Roberts reckons he's going to be fullback. Oh, well, there you go. He's fullback, guys. Chance.
Yeah, he will be because that's what Webster said. He'll be playing him at fullback.
I reckon he'll still play centres though.
Who do you reckon will play fullback?
At some point in the season, I think he'll have a go in the centres.
Yeah, I wonder who will play. Oh, that Tane Tuapiki.
Oh, there's that guy. That they might shuffle around the team. Depends how we go, but I think he'll be a real centre option. It's a problem position for us.
Yes.
So yeah, I that's why I think he will end up there at some point because we probably won't have any better option.
No.
And we have other guys that can play fullback.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that he said that's his spine. Tohu at 13, Egan, SJ, TMM, and CNK. I'm pissed we didn't get Joey. I think everyone's pissed we didn't get Joey. I haven't seen enough of Metcalf to warrant whether he's a fullback or not.
Yeah, it's a bit. It's hard to say. It's hard to say whether he's a fullback or a centre or a 5'8".
Yeah.
Backline utility, 3/4 utility.
Absolutely. Moving on, we got Tane Milne is another one that has gone on to bigger things post Warriors, which isn't hard. Seeming he only got one game at the Warriors under coach.
And played very well in that one game.
Played great in that game. Has had a brain explosion of late in his last appearance for the Rabbitohs this year. But he was solid, but he left the Warriors at the end of 2019. He didn't get a start in the Rabbitohs until 2021. So, he had to work his way back into a first grade gig. He was very solid for the Rabbitohs this year. Peta Hiku, who we've spoken about a little bit, gave great service to the Warriors. He was lowballed on a contract extension, basically due to his age. They wanted to go with youth rather than experience. That didn't pan out very well for us.
Biggest problem being that we didn't have any youth in that position to come through.
No, we had a couple of young guys. One of them really struggled this year in Rocco Berry.
Rocco and Billy, but geez, I mean...
That was a wrong decision by the club as far as I'm concerned.
Horrendous decision. Yeah.
Hiku showed all his class this season at the Cowboys, and he's a definite why did we let him go, along with Isaiah Papali'i.
Still hurts.
And then you spoke about him earlier, Toff Sipley. He only played the 2 games at the Warriors, played 4 games for Manly in 2018. It's only 2021 that he really started becoming a regular first grader. And this year he was actually a starter at Manly. So that's our list of players. And I think you will see that of the 272 players that have played at the Warriors and those that have left, there's not many that fall under the "why did we let him go" banner, although everyone that leaves seems to have that tag attached to them at some point, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And it won't stop anyone from, as soon as insert Warriors player's name here is leaving the club, you'll see the comments on social media. He'll go on and kill it and become an out-and-out superstar at another club, because they all do. Next time you see that, you can say, like who?
Yeah, exactly. Go say, Roo Hammer did a thing on this.
Examples.
There is one. I think there is one that will happen next year, and that is Eli Katoa. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a massive success at the Melbourne Storm.
I can see Reece Walsh having a decent season at Brisbane, but
I can't.
No?
I don't think he'll be in first grade by the end of the year.
Interesting.
Kevy's a coach that will make the hard decisions. He has dropped players in the past.
Yeah,
he showed that this year. And if guys are struggling, young talent, Tessie New, Ezra Mam, Tyson Gamble, these are guys that Kevy brought in and then pretty much pissed off as soon as they started failing. Reece Walsh will get first dibs at the fullback role, but that comment that he made in the press statement a couple of months back, where he said, "I'm going to the Broncos to play fullback and that's it," when all this talk about Selwyn Cobbo maybe playing fullback, I don't know if Walshy will still be in first grade by the end of the year.
It's kind
his
of
defence. His defence is shocking.
They used to work on that. It's funny. I watched a top plays of the Warriors in 2022 on KO. It popped up, and a couple of them were like tackles from Reece Walsh. And I'm like, geez, they must have had to go through the archives to find those couple of try-saving tackles that he made. And it's funny because every week we're talking about his difficulties and with defence and stopping tries. But I think the interesting thing about the Broncos is they weren't planning to have Reece Walsh. It was literally they got smacked on the backside by the rainbow.
Yep.
And with his whole family situation, the old compassionate release. So they ended up with Reece Walsh, and you're probably not going to say if Reece Walsh wants to come to your club, you're probably not going to say no. He started off with the Broncos, got a lot of good mates at the Broncos, as we know. So he was always keen, and that was the condition of his release, he would go back to the Broncos and the Broncos only, even though apparently he's been negotiating with the Dolphins for like 2 years, as everyone's claiming, even though they actually couldn't legally.
No. Have they actually got a team, the Dolphins? I've seen them miss out on a lot of players. They're actually going to have a 13 next year to run on.
I'll tell you what, one injury and they are in big trouble next year.
They got Cody, haven't they? They got Cody. So
yeah. Why did we let him go?
Yeah. Speaking of why did we let him go, Ken Wills in the comments there, mate. The biggest why did we let him go is definitely on the shirt that you're wearing, mate.
100%.
As coach.
As coach, like, mate, he's a fantastic player for us. He loved his time at the club, as he told us himself when we had him on the show. And every time I hear him talking so glowingly about his time at the Warriors, I'm like, mate, you should still be here. Yeah. We should have had a dynasty. And it's a tragic mistake to let go of, a guy that basically lived and breathed the club. He played as a player, as an assistant coach, as head coach. He brought us so much success. He was really connected with the joint. He understood the players. He understood what worked at the Warriors. Remember, he told us he'd bring in guys that weren't necessarily superstars, but guys he knew that would fit in with the group. And we just haven't had that kind of synergy in so long. And that's why I made this T-shirt, because I'll have to at least remember the good days of Ivan. And look, biggest loss in the club's history, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of comments here. Mark Roberts said they've got like 25, 26 top-grade players, I believe. He's talking about the Dolphins. I wouldn't call them top grade players, but they have 25
players. Yeah.
And Malcolm Earnshaw. How did Walsh learn off the best defensive fullback and was missing all season?
Doesn't add up, does it? Rog was probably one of the best at stopping tries on his line. Some of those freakish try-saving plays he pulled off, and then you got Walsh trying to do a half shoulder charge on like a 120 kilo second rower.
Adds up for me though. Adds up for me because you know my feelings on him. I found him to be a little bit pretentious, bit of a show pony.
I think probably the worst thing,
full of his own self-importance a little bit.
The worst thing probably that happened to him was he came into first grade in that blaze of glory like he did.
Yeah,
and it all came pretty easy to him at the start, and he did kind of get found out a bit this year. Had his moments. And he's a good player. We'll say that
he needed to do his apprenticeship on the wing. They needed to keep him on the wing and keep Roger at fullback for the majority of last season. I know we're talking about stuff that's happened in the past, but I think he was everything was moved around to accommodate for him, and I think that went to his head.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw things like him like yelling at players and getting frustrated at players, and that final game where he's like grabbing the microphone off the sideline, off the training stuff and saying, "Put me back on, put me back on." It's like, mate, this is just your second year in first grade. So excuse me. Yeah, let's calm things down a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see how he does go next year. And being based in Brisbane, I'm sure I'll be hearing all about it when he does do well, and I'll also be hearing about it when he doesn't.
Mate, just before we wrap up the show, I'll just get your thoughts on heavily entrenched Anthony Seibold going to Manly. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I can't believe that someone is throwing another long-term deal at him. I know it's not a 5-year deal, but geez, after it all turned so pear-shaped he was 18 months into a 5-year contract at the Broncos. What did Steve Renouf say during the week? People get caught up in psychobabble. Steve Renouf being my favourite player of all time, I feel like I'm a bit in tune with the pearl there, and I've got to agree. What a Manly thinking. I know Des Hasler is known as the mad scientist. He can cook up a few concoctions, but he's got track record. He's won 2 premierships with them. What he does works. He's Manly through and through. Manly DNA.
Did you see?
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you see Siebes' first order of business the other day? What he had to do?
Some throat lozenges?
No, they gave him 5 names, and he had to ring these 5 people and tell them that they were sacked. All from.
Is that right?
Yep.
Oh, stitch up, Siebes.
Yeah.
He's heavy. Oh boy. Look, I think it's a terrible mistake from Manly. We'll see. Time will tell if we'd stand a test of time, as Van Halen would say. Yeah. But I can't believe that someone has so soon after the Broncos debacle, someone's thrust him back in there. What do you think about Mr. Heavily Entrenched himself?
Mate, I was shocked. He inherited that Mudge Maguire side at the Rabbitohs, and then he inherited a Wayne Bennett team at the Broncos, and that went pear-shaped for him, and they got rid of him. Yeah, I have no idea. And then Mark Roberts, what are the Raiders thinking, having both Sticky and Wig on the coaching panel? Tell me that's not going to be a spray and a half.
Imagine the blow-ups and the love blisters that are going to go on there. And all the players' boots that are going to go missing.
That's right. They will too. Yeah.
Just funny, the classic story. While we keep talking about Anthony Seibold being heavily entrenched, do you want to tell the story?
I'll tell the story. So 2021, he was assistant coach with Newcastle at the time.
He was a consultant, apparently. He was a consultant.
Consultant. He was sitting in the coach's box with Adam O'Brien. And I was at the game at Central Coast Stadium when we played Newcastle. Round 2, just got beat. Mitch Barnett was kicking for goals that night. And waiting for the players to come out afterwards to have a bit of a chat. And Siebes walked past. And I was with the great Juan Carlos. Yep. And Carlos turns around to him and goes, "Oh, g'day, Siebes." And Steve goes, "G'day, mate," as he walks past, and Carlos goes, "Oh, heavily entrenched in that Newcastle coaching box." And Steve turns around and he goes, "What do you mean heavily entrenched?" Carlos is like, "Oh, I just mean you're up in the coaching box, mate." So ever since then, we've always referred to Seabold as heavily entrenched.
It's I just find it amazing that he actually stopped and cared about what with all due respect to the great one, some random bloke at the footy said. Like, surely he's heard it all before. And he stopped and said, "What do you mean heavily entrenched?" Like, why would he care? Yeah, classic.
We've had our run-ins. We've had some run-ins.
At our run-ins, we have.
Yeah, met some funny people.
We have. Guys, yeah, thanks for this great discussion. We've been looking forward to doing this show for a while. And so thanks for all your contributions there with you guys on Facebook and YouTube there. It's been a great discussion, and hopefully we've either confirmed or dispelled your thoughts on this topic. But yeah, as we said, it comes up every single time we release a player. So, but it's good to have these discussions. Regarding live shows,
facts-based discussions. Like, people can have their opinions, and they're entitled to their opinions, and that's fine. But when you look at the facts and you go through and you have a look at actual black and white facts, you can see that there's not that many players that have gone on to bigger and better things once they leave our club.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah.
As far as live shows go, we're probably not going to be doing one every single week at this stage. If we do have a genuine topic to discuss, like for instance, when the draw comes out, we'll definitely be doing a live show for that.
Yes.
But over the next coming weeks, if we may not necessarily be doing a live show every week, but what we will be doing is recording some content for our YouTube channel. So you guys make sure that you like, subscribe, give us the thumbs up on that YouTube channel, and we're going to be doing some chats. So I know we've been promising for a long time that we're going to be doing something Marvel related. Yes. And we're finally going to do that. So hopefully by the end of by this weekend sometime, we're going to be having a bit of a chat about Marvel. We're going to be calling it Warriors X Avengers. So if you're wondering how we're going to tie all that in, make sure you stay tuned to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
That video will be dropping. We'll be doing a few other different videos. I think we're going to be doing one about our favorite jerseys.
Yes.
We'll be anything else we think of. We'll be having little chats. And also to all you guys on Patreon, this is a good segue to the next point. But all you guys on Patreon, we'll be doing some stuff especially for you guys, for our wonderful supporters.
Absolutely, which will be Patreon only content that only Patreon subscribers get the link to. So yeah, there'll be some discussions that we do on that. There'll be some little interviews and stuff that we do with some famous, Warriors or New Zealand personalities, so to speak. And we're in the process of just trying to line up some of the New Zealand based ex-Warriors, do some pre-recorded stuff because of the time difference over there. I mean, Rob and I are now in different time zones. Rob's at, so it's 8 at night for Rob at the moment. It's 9:30 where I am, and it's 11:30 over in New Zealand. So, we're going to do some pre-recorded stuff. Throw that up on the YouTube channel as well. So make sure you head over to our YouTube channel. We've been having some issues with Facebook during the year whenever we do live watches and stuff like that, and then they put us on a ban or restricted for a little while. So we're thinking about moving over to YouTube exclusively next year to avoid all of that stuff. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you're never going to miss any of the stuff that we have. But talking of Patreon, just want to give a quick shout out to those people that do support us on Patreon: Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Sean Kurzweil, Fabian Morales, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley, Alf Tuolave, TK Harris, Ted Clark, Inamete, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, Malcolm Earnshaw, Dennis Danzo, Siala Afamasunga, Shane Musafau, and Richie Sterling. Just want to thank you guys very, very much for your ongoing support. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Your support, it really does go a long way for us. As I said at the start of the show, it goes back into the show. It pays for our Restream license and any other licensing and costs we have associated with the show. So thank you so much. And another great way that you can support us is jump on over to our Redbubble store. That's the link is on your screen there. Make sure you go to the Roo Hammer shop in Redbubble. You can get yourself some sweet merchandise. You can grab an Ivan Cleary shirt. You can grab our wingers shirt. We've done shirts for fullbacks, wingers, centers, halves, hookers, and props, locks, and second rowers are coming soon. Like we can do, there's a lot of designs coming through now. We've done player tribute shirts, past and present, some collage shirts there. So make sure you don't miss out on those. Go and check out the store. We got some great designs, as I said, and they're regularly doing specials on there. You can buy 3 shirts, get 15% off, and we'll always let you know when Redbubble are doing a promotion, and you can get some of our merchandise a bit cheaper. And again, all the sort of commission that we do make from our merchandise sales does go back into the show and helps us to improve our content and bring you guys more of the stuff that you enjoy week to week. So jump into our Redbubble store and grab yourself a bargain.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you do miss any of our live shows, you can catch up on our Facebook page by going to our video section, or go to our YouTube channel. You can catch up there. Easiest way to find any of our past shows is go to our link tree, which is on the screen right now. Has direct links to each of our live guest interviews and any of our special presentations. If you do go to YouTube, don't forget, as Rob said, to hit the like and subscribe. Click that thumbs up so you never miss any of our content. If you're a podcast fan, catch all our episodes on our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, etc. Make sure you subscribe to us there. And please head to our Roo Hammer Instagram page. That's where we upload content daily to keep all our followers updated on any upcoming events, Warriors news, player movements, and all other Warriors-related content.
I just want to give another quick shout out to our special guest last week, Tony Martin.
Yep.
Fantastic bloke. We had such an awesome chat with him last week. If any of you guys missed that chat, make sure you go back and watch that, because he told some of the best stories, best yarns I think we've ever heard. So
absolutely,
shout out to you, Bardo 109 legend.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it for tonight's show. Thank you so much for joining our discussion and for support of watching us across Facebook and YouTube, listening to us on podcasts. We really appreciate you guys. We can't do it without you. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll let you know when we're doing another show. Make sure, as we said, keep up to date with us on YouTube, and we'll have some videos on there very soon for you. But until then, take care.
Thanks, guys.